Hey, this is Karen, the self-healing coach, and I am speaking with Leanne today about what her experience was like working with Anne Baroque. So, Leanne, tell me a little bit about what was going on for you when you went to see Anne.
I had the typical diagnosis with MS where they kept telling me, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And finally I got a doctor to listen to me and got the diagnosis with MS. I was working at Virgin Records at the time, and luckily, as soon as I got my diagnosis, I was talking to one of the guys over there, and he knew Anne. And he said, I've got this woman you have to go to. And I wasn't really into the whole holistic thing, but I definitely wasn't into taking the meds.
Right.
So I went to see her, and just everything that she had to say clicked.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember having a phone call with my mom and telling her, I met this nutritionist who's going to help me with my MS. And my mom was like, that's great. And I could hear in her voice, like, she was like, which doctor?
Right.
And, so I had my first sit down with Anne, and we talked for a couple hours. And, it just really clicked because my body was really falling apart fast.
And so what were some of the specific symptoms that you were having when you went to see her?
My left arm was completely numb,
mm-hmm.
and my right leg, and then my eyesight was shot. So I was having problems driving and living in LA, which is impossible. You have to drive in LA.
Right.
And just my energy level, I went from working 12 to 14 hours easily a day to working 4 or 5 and just needing to rest. And so my energy level was just drained from me completely.
And so when you went to see Anne, what did she do for you?
She basically picked apart my diet, which was horrible. My dad worked for Hostess Cupcakes growing up.
Oh gosh.
So I definitely wasn't the healthiest of eaters.
That's really
so
funny.
she really picked apart my diet and and just kind of gave me my vitamin regimen, and I was in so much physical and emotional pain. I was just like, tell me what to do and I'll do it, So it was a lot of, talking me into doing yoga, which I wasn't really into before, all the stuff that I thought, oh, that's hippie stuff,
Right.
Let's do the hippie stuff. But, just a lot of stress management, and she basically picked my life apart. It was like, stop doing that. Now you have to do this.
Right.
And
so how did it go? How did the transition go for you in adapting her new lifestyle?
At first it was hard just because, like I said, I was such an unhealthy eater.
Right.
Like me going shopping at Whole Foods was just like, I was in a different world. Reading labels.
Right,
It was like, what do you mean there's sugar in ketchup?
Isn't that funny? I remember that.
I was like so thrown, like going through my fridge. I was like, how is there sugar in ketchup? Like that just doesn't seem right. But I learned a lot, and I really embraced it. I think that was the thing that really helped me a lot, was I didn't want to go back to that unhealthy feeling that I had before. So I was really fighting for it.
Right. And so how did things change for you? So when did you start to see a difference?
Probably within 2 months of the diet change and starting to eat really clean and, doing all the vitamins and just getting my body back up and running, I was able to work, my 8-hour day.
Right. And
my energy was kept up, and, starting yoga and the stress management stuff that she had me doing. And I was doing hypnotherapy with her also to, release some of the stresses from the past. And I'd say really probably within 3 or 4 months, I was back to my normal self.
And so your neurological symptoms had cleared up?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, completely. My eyesight was the first thing to come back, and it came back great. And then slowly the numbness went away, and I've never had an attack like that again.
And had you been on any of the MS drugs?
The only thing I did was I did the steroid drip when I first got diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on that, but by the time I went to see Anne, I was done that. And that's when they were kind of trying to talk me into the medication. So as soon as I met with her, I was like, no, I'm going to try this first.
Okay. And have you kept up the diet and the healthy living?
I have. I have, and I still do yoga regularly and, do the stress management stuff because, my job's pretty stressful, so.
When did you first go see Anne?
My first meeting with Anne was in 2001.
Okay, so it's been a decade. Wow.
Yeah.
And you're still feeling good?
Still feel great.
And,
no, really, I can't think of another time that I had an attack even close to that. Like, there were a couple times when I would get a little tingling here and there, like when something really stressful would go on or something, but,
right.
Just kind of, as soon as it happens, just kind of addressing it and being like, all right, let's, figure this out. And, yeah, it's been great. It's funny, I don't think I can recommend Anne any more than I have every time. Every time I meet somebody with MS, my husband always says, he's like, you kind of freak people out, because I'll meet people with MS. I'm like, oh my God, I have MS, with this big smile on my face. And he's like, people don't really react that way.
Right,
and it's like,
right.
it's dealable, it's livable.